Flight, in its simplest form, is the movement of an object through space. But when it comes to an airplane, a colossal machine that weighs several tons, the concept becomes even more fascinating. How does this massive structure manage to lift off the ground and glide through the sky? The answer lies in a blend of science, engineering, and a touch of magic. Flight is a marvel that has revolutionized our world. It has shrunk distances, connected cultures, and opened up a world of possibilities. So buckle up and prepare for an exciting journey as we delve into the marvel of flight. Today, we're going to unravel the mystery behind flight. The secret to flight lies in the magic of aerodynamics. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is aerodynamics? Well, in layman's terms, it's the way air moves around things. The things being anything that moves through the air, like a baseball, a bird, or in our case, an airplane. So why is it crucial to flight? Simply put, without understanding aerodynamics, we wouldn't be able to design objects that can effectively and safely move through the air. Picture trying to wade through a pool filled with honey. If you don't understand how the honey behaves and how it reacts to your movement, you're not going to get very far, are you? It's the same with air and flight. Now onto the four forces of flight: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Let's start with lift. Lift is the upward force that opposes the weight of the plane and holds it in the air. It's created by the air flowing over the wings of the airplane. Next, we have weight, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's the force of gravity pulling down on the plane. For a plane to rise, the lift must be greater than the weight. Then we have thrust, which is the forward force that propels the plane through the air. This force is generated by the aircraft's engines. Finally, we have drag, the force that resists the motion of the airplane through the air. It's kind of like when you're trying to run through water. The water slows you down, right? That's drag. These forces are continually in play during a flight, constantly balancing and rebalancing, allowing the plane to ascend, descend, speed up, slow down, or maintain a steady flight. So there you have it. Aerodynamics is not just about how air moves around things, but it's also about understanding these four forces: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Understanding these forces is the first step to understanding flight. The design of an aircraft plays a significant role in its ability to fly. It's not just power and speed that makes an aircraft take flight, but also its shape, the materials used, and the science behind its design. Let's start with the shape. You'll notice that an aircraft is sleek and streamlined. This is no coincidence, but a deliberate design choice. The sleek shape reduces air resistance or drag, allowing the plane to cut through the air more efficiently. It's like a speed swimmer who streamlines their body to glide through the water faster. Now let's talk about the wings. They're not just flat pieces of metal attached to the sides of the plane. They are airfoil shaped, meaning they have a curved upper surface and a flatter bottom surface. This shape creates a pressure difference above and below the wing as the plane moves through the air, leading to lift. This lift is what keeps the plane airborne. And what about the tail? Well, the tail helps stabilize the aircraft and keep it flying straight. It's like the rudder on a ship, steering it through the sky. The vertical stabilizer keeps the plane from swaying side to side, while the horizontal stabilizers prevent up and down motion. Now let's touch on the materials used to build an aircraft. It's not just any old metal. Aircraft are often made from materials like aluminum, titanium, and even composites. These materials are chosen for their strength, lightness, and resistance to corrosion. After all, an aircraft needs to be robust enough to withstand the stresses of flight, yet light enough to take off and stay in the air. Aircraft design is a fascinating blend of science, engineering, and art. Each element of the design, from the sleek body to the curved wings to the stabilizing tail, and even the materials used, all contribute to the aircraft's ability to take to the skies. The right design can make the difference between soaring in the sky and staying grounded. So next time you look at an aircraft, you'll see more than just a machine. You'll see a marvel of design and engineering that harnesses the laws of physics to achieve the wonder of flight. Engines are the heart of any aircraft, providing the thrust required for flight. Think of it this way: the engines are the orchestra, setting the rhythm, and the aircraft is the dancer, moving gracefully to the music. So how does this orchestra, the engines, play their tune? Airplane engines work on a principle called Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In simpler terms, the engine pushes air backwards, and in return, the airplane is pushed forward. This forward push or thrust overcomes the resistance of the air, also known as drag, allowing the plane to fly. Now, not all engines are created equal. There are different types of aircraft engines, and each plays a unique role in flight. First, we have piston engines. These are your traditional engines, found in smaller aircraft. They work much like a car engine, where fuel combustion in a cylinder drives a piston, which in turn drives the propeller. Next, we have the turbojet engines. These are the real heavy hitters found in most commercial aircraft. They suck in air at the front, compress it, mix it with fuel, and ignite it. The result? A forceful blast of exhaust gases that propels the aircraft forward. Then there are turboprop engines, a sort of hybrid between pistons and jets. They use a gas turbine to drive a propeller, offering the best of both worlds: the efficiency of a piston engine at low speeds and altitudes, and the power and speed of a jet engine at high altitudes. Finally, we have the rocket engines, which are a whole different ballgame. Instead of using air from the atmosphere, they carry their own oxidizer, allowing them to operate in space where there is no air. Each of these engines has its own strengths and weaknesses, and the choice of engine can greatly impact the performance and capabilities of an aircraft. So you see, the engines don't just power the aircraft, they define it. Without engines, an aircraft would be nothing more than a giant paperweight. Finally, it is the skill of the pilot that brings all these elements together to create flight. The pilot, you see, is the maestro of this airborne symphony, controlling the aircraft while juggling the four forces of flight: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. It's the pilot who delicately balances these forces, ensuring the aircraft maintains its course and altitude. Now, let's not forget the extensive training pilots undergo. They dedicate countless hours to understanding the science of flight, mastering the controls of various aircraft, and learning how to respond to a plethora of scenarios that could arise mid-air. It's a demanding process that requires a blend of intelligence, dexterity, and courage. From taking off to cruising at 35,000 feet, navigating through turbulence, to landing safely back on terra firma, each phase of the journey requires a different set of skills. A skilled pilot can make the complex task of flying seem as easy as driving a car. So now you know what makes a plane fly? It's not just one element, but a symphony of factors working in harmony. The miracle of flight is made possible by the principles of aerodynamics, which allow an aircraft to move smoothly through the air. It's the aircraft's design, with its wings, fuselage, and tail, crafted meticulously to harness the forces of lift, weight, thrust, and drag. The engines, those powerhouses of propulsion, give the necessary thrust to overcome drag and lift the aircraft off the ground. But let's not forget the human element. The skill of the pilot who navigates the aircraft makes crucial decisions and keeps us safe in the sky.